The scream was so faint it could have been the wind, just a thin, broken thread of sound weaving through the pine trees, but Michael Reed heard it anyway. He was used to listening for the things other people ignored. Being a single dad taught him that. Kids didn't always say they were hurting, but the signs were there if you paid attention, and Michael paid attention to everything. He paused on the trail, hand tightening on the leash of the old black lab trotting beside him. "You hear that, Cooper?" The dog lifted his head, ears pricking. Another faint cry shuddered through the trees. Cooper barked once, sharp and urgent. Michael didn't waste a second. Ethan was waiting in the truck at the trailhead, doing Spanish homework, warm and safe. Whatever that sound was, it wasn't coming from anywhere innocent. Not at this hour, not in this cold. He jogged toward it, boots sinking into damp leaves. Breath steaming in the chilled evening air, Cooper pulled forward, nose to the ground. The second scream cracked like splintering glass. Michael ran. Branches clawed his jacket. The ground dipped sharply, hidden by shadows. Cooper leaped ahead, barking frantically. Michael crashed through a thicket and skidded to a stop, heart hammering. In the clearing lay a mound of soil, freshly disturbed. His lungs froze. Not a mound, a grave. Cooper was digging furiously at one end, paws flinging dirt. "Cooper, move!" Michael dropped to his knees, tearing at the loose earth with both hands. His fingers hit something solid, wood, rough, old, a lid, and from beneath it came a shattered, breathless, desperate whisper. "Please." Michael's blood turned to ice. Someone was buried alive. He shoved his fingers beneath the warped planks, muscles straining. The wood bent, groaned, resisted. He slammed his shoulder into it. Again, again. His skin tore. He didn't feel it. He slammed harder until the hinge snapped, and the lid broke apart with a sharp crack. Inside the crude coffin lay a woman. Her wrists were bound with duct tape. Her ankles, too. A gag stretched across her mouth. Dirt smeared her face, tangled in her golden hair, clung to her eyelashes. Her chest rose weakly, shallow as a dying ember. Her eyes, blue bright even through terror, locked onto his. Michael reached in and tore the gag from her mouth. She gasped like she was sucking life back into her lungs. "It's okay," he said, voice shaking. "I've got you. You're okay." She tried to speak but dissolved into violent coughing. He lifted her, she was frighteningly light, and climbed out of the grave. Slipping once on the slope but refusing to let her fall, he carried her back through the woods, Cooper weaving anxiously around his legs. Halfway to the truck, she clutched his jacket with trembling fingers and whispered something, just a single breath of sound too soft to grasp. Then she went limp. At the truck, Ethan's eyes widened. "Dad, who?" "Blankets," Michael barked. "Now!" Ethan scrambled. Cooper paced, whining. Michael wrapped her carefully, checked her breathing, and floored the accelerator toward the nearest hospital. He called 911, gave coordinates, answered questions, dodged potholes. When paramedics met them at the hospital doors, they rushed her inside, attaching oxygen, calling codes, shouting vitals. Michael stood there, hands shaking and bleeding, chest heaving. He had no idea who she was, but he knew one thing. She hadn't been in that grave long enough to die. And if he hadn't heard her, she would have. For 2 days he heard nothing. Detectives interviewed him twice. He replayed everything again and again. The woman, her eyes, that faint whisper, the way she had clung to him like he was the last person on earth she could reach. Late on the second night, when Ethan finally fell asleep on the couch and Cooper curled at his feet, the doorbell rang. Michael opened the door and froze. It was her. The woman from the grave. Not in a hospital gown. She wore loose gray sweats and a hoodie too big for her, like someone borrowed clothes from the lost and found. Her face was pale but clean, her wounds bandaged, her hair combed and tied back. But her eyes, those bright shaken eyes, were exactly the same. "May I come in?" she whispered. Michael stepped aside without a word. She entered slowly, like she wasn't sure the ground beneath her was real. When she reached the kitchen table, she braced herself on it, knuckles white. "You shouldn't be out of the hospital," he said. "You're not—" "I had to leave," she breathed. "And I had to find you." "Why?" She looked at him with something like terror, and something like trust. "I need your help." Michael stiffened. "With what?" She swallowed. "Do you remember what I whispered to you in the woods? Before I passed out?" He shook his head. "You tried to say something, but I couldn't make it out." "You did hear it," she said gently. "Your mind stored it. You just don't realize. What did you say? She stepped closer. My name. He frowned. Your name wasn't in any report. I know, she whispered. Because I didn't tell them. I can't trust them. Not yet. Michael's pulse quickened. Then tell me. She lifted her chin. My name is Adriana Vale. The name struck him unexpectedly. Not because he recognized it, but because it carried weight, importance, something. He felt he should know. Adriana Vale, he repeated. Why does that sound? She cut him off softly. Because I'm the Adriana Vale. He stared blankly. She inhaled deeply. Heiress to the Vale Group, CEO of Vale Tech Holdings. Net worth, around $780 million. Michael blinked, stunned. He had pulled a millionaire from a grave. Why would anyone bury you alive? He whispered. Her eyes darkened. Because they wanted me to disappear without scandal. Without investigation. Quietly. Like I had never existed at all. And because they're still hunting for what they think I have. And do you? He asked. No, she said softly. And if they think you heard my name, if they think you know anything, they will come for you too. Michael inhaled sharply. You need protection, police, security, someone who... No police, she insisted, stepping closer. Not until I know who I can trust. Not until I find out who inside my company is trying to erase me. Why me? He asked incredulously. I'm a mechanic. I have a son. I'm not... Because you heard me, she whispered. When no one else would have. When I had no voice left. You dug through dirt with your bare hands to save me. And when I saw you, I knew you weren't sent by them. She hesitated, breath trembling. You were the only real thing in that nightmare. Michael felt a strange tightness in his chest. He shouldn't get involved. Every instinct said stay out. But the memory of her gasping, clawing for life, trembling in his arms, it wouldn't leave him. What do you need from me? He asked finally. Help me find the truth, she whispered. Help me survive long enough to expose them. He exhaled slowly. First thing, Ethan's safety comes before everything. If there's danger, I would die before letting anything happen to your son, she said quietly. He studied her, reading sincerity in her eyes. All right, he said. Tell me everything. Oh. They talked for hours, quietly, cautiously, after Ethan went back to bed. She told him about the board members competing for control, the secret project her father started before he died, the encrypted files she never found, the threats that escalated, and then the kidnapping, the grave. Michael listened like every word was a ticking bomb. At midnight, she pulled something from her pocket, a thin metal card. I found this in my hand when I woke in the hospital, she said. They must have dropped it or it fell from their clothes. Maybe it's a clue. Michael examined it. A strange pattern of lines, a set of numbers along the bottom. It's not random, she whispered. It's the same numbering system my father used for secure archives. Michael grabbed his laptop. Let's decode it. They worked together silently. Cooper lay under the table, head resting on Adriana's foot. Eventually, the numbers resolved into coordinates, and then a date, and then a key phrase. Vault 7 access revoked, owner deceased. Override by verification of bloodline. Adriana gasped. My father's vault. What's in it? Everything, she whispered. All his research. All his secrets. Everything the board wants. Michael leaned back. Then we find it tomorrow. Adriana nodded slowly, but her eyes softened with something unguarded. You saved me once, she whispered. I don't know why, but I trust you more than anyone I've met in years. He swallowed. Get some sleep. You're safe here. I'll stay awake. She hesitated. May I sit here a little longer? I don't want to be alone tonight. He nodded. She moved closer, slowly, uncertainly, resting her head on his shoulder. He tensed, then relaxed. Her breathing steadied. Warm, human, alive. And for the first time since the woods, he felt her trembling stop. They left before dawn. Ethan was at school. Cooper rode along. The coordinates pointed deep into state-owned forest land, an abandoned research outpost Vale Group once leased. The building was half collapsed, swallowed by vines and rust. But inside, behind a false wall, they found it. Vault 7, a massive biometric vault sealed in titanium. Adriana stepped toward it. If this doesn't recognize me, There's no second chance. Michael stood beside her. Go ahead. She placed her palm on the panel. A beat. 2 beats. Then the vault hissed. Unlocked. Inside lay piles of documents, drives, blueprints, prototypes, and one sealed envelope addressed in
handwritten ink.
For my daughter, Adriana, if they come for you. Her breath broke. She opened it with trembling fingers. Inside was a letter and a storage drive. As she read, her face drained of color. Michael stepped closer. What is it? She looked up, voice barely a whisper. My father didn't just create technology. He uncovered crimes, blackmail, secrets that could ruin powerful people. And the ones who buried me, they were protecting those secrets. Michael felt cold. And the drive? It's the full evidence. Every crime. She looked at him, trembling. If I release this, governments could fall. Companies could collapse. People could die. Michael inhaled. So what do you want to do? She sank to her knees, clutching the drive. I want to live. I want to expose the truth, but I don't want to burn the world down. He crouched beside her. You won't do it alone. But before she could reply, an engine roared outside. They froze. Michael pulled her into the shadows. Through the cracked wall, they saw black SUVs, armed men, the same ones who buried her. They tracked us, she whispered. Michael grabbed her hand. Back exit now. They slipped out the rear door, sprinting through the trees as gunshots blasted the walls. Cooper barked fiercely, staying on Michael's heels. Adriana struggled to keep pace. Her injuries slowed her. Michael scooped her up without hesitation. Hold on, he panted. I'm too heavy. Not a chance. Branches slapped at them. Bullets tore through leaves. The men shouted. Michael didn't look back. They burst into a ravine. Michael slid down the slope on his boots, covering Adriana with his body. At the bottom, he spotted a ranger cabin, old, decayed but standing. He shoved the door open. Inside, he barricaded the entrance with an overturned table. Adriana leaned against the wall, breathless, shaking violently. Michael, if they catch us. They won't. You don't know that. Then I'll make sure. She grabbed his wrist desperately. Don't die for me. He turned to her. I'm trying to live for you. Her eyes widened. For a moment, everything, the gunshots, the fear, the chase, fell away. She stepped closer, voice shaking. There's something I never told you, she whispered. Something I whispered in that grave. Not just my name. He froze. She looked up at him with eyes full of raw, broken truth. I whispered, don't leave me. Not because I was dying, but because when I saw your face I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. His breath caught. And now, she whispered, I'm whispering it again. He touched her cheek gently. I'm not leaving. Footsteps thudded outside. She leaned her forehead to his. Then whatever happens, we face it together. Michael kissed her, soft, fierce, desperate. A promise. A vow. A beginning. The door shook as the men tried to break in, and Michael stood, pulling Adriana behind him, ready to protect her with everything he had. Not because she was a millionaire. Not because he saved her. But because the moment she whispered those words, their fates were no longer separate. They were bound. In danger, in truth, in something neither of them had expected. A second chance at life together. And he would fight for that with everything inside him. Even if the world burned to stop it,